plus concerns over a Port Adelaide star duo and the possible forward crisis facing the West Coast EaglesAll. All of this and more in AFL Early Mail. Get the latest AFL odds and bet now with SportsbetRound 15 PIES in line to replace TRELOARIT. LOOMS as arguably Collingwood's biggest injury blow for the season. But while there's no like-for-like replacement for star midfielder Adam Treloar, the Magpies' midfield depth will undoubtedly come in handy, with an array of midfielders in the mix to face Gold Coast on Saturday night. Treloar hurt both hamstrings in an awkward fall during the Pies' win over Carlton on Sunday, with surgery required to repair a tendon injury in his left leg. There are fears Treloar could miss the rest of the season after hurting both hamstrings, and veteran Travis Varcoe, who hasn't played since round 10 due to a hamstring injury, could be rushed back into the side, despite the club's original plans to ease him back via the VFL. But hours before Collingwood's win at the MCG, several players put their hands up for a senior recall across the road at Olympic Park Oval in the VFL Pies' close loss to Northern Bullets. Collingwood's Ben Crocker kicked 5 goals in the VFL. Picture, Michael Klein. Source, News Corp. Australian tried-on baller Braden Sear racked up an equal team-high 28 disposals to put himself in contention. Sear was taken by the Pies with pick 32 in the 2015 draft, but has yet to play a senior game. Unlike Sear, Rupert Wills, a rookie pick from the same year, has been given the chance at senior level, with 6 games to his name so far. Wills, who had 24 possessions against the Blues in the VFL, has been a picture of consistency in the VFL this season, averaging 25.1 disposals and 7.8 tackles per game. Others to impress in the VFL were Ben Crocker, 5.2 from 17 disposals, Sam Murray, 28 disposals, 9 marks, and Callum Brown, 19 disposals, 8 tackles. What could help those players push to replace Treloar is the scenario that Levi Greenwood could also miss after sustaining a concussion against the Blues on Sunday. Collingwood president Eddie McGuire was optimistic about his side's selection predicament. "We're going to reload and we're going to go again and we are going to rely on the players coming through," McGuire told Fox. Footy's AFL 360, Travis Varcoe will come back from a hamstring injury, Callum Brown will maybe come through from the reserves and gets his chance, Braden Sear might get his first go. There's other players there who might get a bit of a go at it. Tom Jonas of the Power was walking laps at training. Source, AAPSTAR Power Duo failed to TRAINPORT. Adelaide insists star duo Chad Wingard and Tom Jonas will be right to face Carlton at the MCG this weekend, despite their limited participation at an open training sessions. Jonas, who missed round 13 with a hamstring injury, walked laps on the training track at Alberton on Tuesday. Wingard, who's also spent times on the sidelines this season with a hamstring issue, was on the track but did minimal work with the rehab group. Fox Sports News reported that Wingard was gesturing towards his groin at times during the session. But the Power insisted both players were taking a precautionary approach ahead of the club's clash against the Blues on Saturday. Jonas is in All-Australian contention after a breakout 2018 campaign, ranking 2nd in the AFL for average marks, 5th for intercepts and 7th for one-percenters. After a quiet start to the season going by his high standards, Wingard has found form in recent weeks, racking up 31 and 30 disposals against Richmond and the Bulldogs respectively. Eagles forward line issues. West Coast could be facing a forward line crisis if Mark Leckers succumbs to a wrist injury. Leckers injured his right wrist during last week's 28-point AFL loss to Essendon. Although the 31-year-old was able to play out the game with his wrist heavily strapped, it's been reported he suffered a dislocation and may require surgery. West Coast's forward line is already ravaged by injuries. Jack Darling, fractured ankle, is still at least 3 weeks away from playing, while fellow spearhead Josh Kennedy, hairline fracture in right leg, is no certainty to return against Adelaide on Saturday. Mark Leckers of the Eagles. Source, Getty Images. Forwards Jake Waterman, Liam Ryan, and Willie Rioli have combined for just 3 goals over the past 2 weeks. Last week's inclusion Fraser McInnes went goalless against Essendon, while Jared Brander went goalless from 5 disposals in his sole outing against Sydney. We've got a pretty young forward line. Amongst them, they've only played a handful of games. Eagles ruckman Nick Naitanui said, missing guys like that, it does hurt the team. But we'll have to find a way to get around that. Star defender Jeremy McGovern was sent forward during the last quarter against Essendon. If fellow defender Tom Barrass is able to return from a back injury this week, McGovern could play an attack for the whole game against the Crows. Fears all the team news and whispers for every game this weekend. All times AEST, Richmond v Sydney Swans Thursday, June 28, 7:20 p.m. at Etihad Stadium. Tigers premiership duo Dion Prestia, calf, and David Asprey, ankle, are set to return for Richmond, with Asprey even slated to play on Lance Franklin at different stages. The Swans will be boosted by the return of veteran Jared McVeigh, who missed the club's most recent clash with West Coast due to a calf complaint. Tall Sam Reid and Luis Melican are still set to be on the sidelines at least for another week. Western Bulldogs v Geelong Friday, June 29, 7:50 p.m. at Etihad Stadium. Dogs still have 11 players listed on the injury list, but defender Matt Suckling has a chance to return from an Achilles injury on Friday night. Young pup Fergus Green is in fine form in the VFL, booting 2 goals from 21 disposals on the weekend against North Melbourne, and could be set for an AFL debut in coming weeks. Down at the Cattery, Harry Taylor and Cam Guthrie trained strongly during the Cats bye on the weekend. The duo could be set for a return against the Bulldogs. Daniel Menzel and Nakia Cockatoo aren't far away from returning to action, but the duo will likely come through the VFL first. Liam McCarthy suffered a hamstring injury in the Cats' loss to Richmond and will miss at least a week. Carlton v Port Adelaide Saturday, June 30, 1:45 p.m. at McBlue. Plowman's season is over after the defender suffered a grade 2 medial ligament strain in his right knee on Sunday. We're also still awaiting updates on Levi Casbolt, finger, and Matthew Kreutzer, ankle, but the club's hopeful captain Mark Murphy will finally return from a foot injury. Lively forward Jared Pickett booted 3 goals in the VFL, while Nick Graham had 35 disposals, 10 tackles and 9 clearances in a best-on-ground performance for the Northern Blues. Power guns Chad Wingard and Tom Jonas both did not train fully on Tuesday, walking laps, but Port are adamant they are in no doubt to face the Blues. Defender Matthew Broadbent will return from injury through the SANFL. Adelaide v West Coast EaglesAll Saturday, June 30, 4:35 p.m. at Adelaide Oval. Crows could be bolstered by the return of Tom Lynch, side strain, midfielder Rory Sloane, foot, All-Australian defender Rory Laird, and Luke Brown, ankle, but Eddie Betts will miss a month after suffering a hamstring injury against the Hawks in round 13. West Coast star forward Josh Kennedy is no certainty to return after missing the Eagles' clash with Essendon. Mark Lekras is in serious doubt with a wrist injury, while tall defender Tom Barrass may return from injury. Crows butchered, presser 148. Gold Coast Suns v Collingwood Saturday, June 30, 7:25 p.m. at Metricon Stadium. Cade Collard-Dashnij, Jesse Lonergan and Jack Scrimshaw all returned from injury in the Suns' NEAFL loss to Sydney University on the weekend. Trio will be in the mix to face the Magpies. Sam Day left the field in the final quarter with a shoulder injury, and the Tall is set to miss at least 1 week of football, with scans later in the week to confirm his time in rehab. Stephen May could put his hand up for selection, having made good progress in his recovery from an ankle injury. Collingwood midfielder Adam Treloar will likely miss the remainder of the home and away season, with scans revealing that he has tendon damage in his left hamstring and a strain in his right hamstring. Braden Sear could be the man to replace him, coming off a big 28 disposals, 9 clearances and 7 inside 50s performance in the VFL. Levi Greenwood was concussed in the Pies' victory over Carlton and is in doubt. GWS Giants v Hawthorn Saturday, June 30, 7:25 p.m. at Spotla Stadium. Giants will be without star forward Jeremy Cameron, who is set for a lengthy stint on the sidelines after striking Lions defender Harris Andrews in the opening quarter on Saturday. Harry Perryman was their standout player in the AFL, with 34 disposals, 6 tackles, 5 clearances and 4 goals. Drafty Aidan Boner continues to bang the door down for a debut, with 25 disposals and 13 clearances in their AFL victory. Lachie Keefe, 22 disposals and 2 goals, and young tall Zach Spruill, 16 disposals and 3 goals, will battle it out to replace Cameron. The Hawks will be without Sean Burgoyne for 4 weeks after the veteran hurt his hamstring against the Suns on the weekend. However, utility Jack Gunston is expected to be available to face the Giants after suffering a corked calf. James Cousins once again was a standout in the VFL with 25 disposals and 7 clearances, and will be in the mix to replace the injured Burgoyne. Cameron's lengthy rap sheet 122 Melbourne v St Kilda Sunday, July 1st, 1:10 p.m. at MCG. Walked away from their loss to Port Adelaide without 4 points but with injuries to 2 key players in Tom McDonald, ribs, and Neville Jetta, ankle, head knock. Jetta will be right to play, but McDonald remains in some doubt as he sees a specialist on Tuesday. If McDonald doesn't get up, Sam Wiedemann would be the perfect inclusion after booting 7 goals in the VFL on the weekend. Sam Frost, Charlie Spargo and Jeff Garlett could come into the side. A big blow for the Saints, with rebounding defender Jimmy Webster still a few weeks away after hurting his hamstring against the Suns before the bye. Webster would arguably be leading the club's best and fairest count at the moment, but he should be replaced by captain Jaron Geary, who seems to have recovered from a calf injury. Bailey Rice will be tested after suffering a concussion against Gold Coast, with the likes of Sam Gilbert and Nick Caulfield potential inclusions. Essendon v North Melbourne Sunday, July 1st, 3:20 p.m. at Etihad Stadium. Is this the week the Bombers unleash Aaron Francis again on an AFL field? Don't rule it out after the gun defender's latest excellent VFL performance, finishing with 22 disposals and 10 marks. But Jordan Ridley is also right back in the mix, finishing with a team-high 29 disposals and 7 marks. Josh Green, foot, and Mason Redman, ankle, are both set to miss Sunday's clash, potentially opening the door for the 2 aforementioned defenders. For North, Billy Hartung is in doubt with a hamstring injury. He could be replaced by Ben Jacobs, delayed concussion, the man he originally replaced in the side. Ryan Clark could also be a chance to come back in after racking up 22 disposals in the VFL. Young Lion heading for Scans 3:31 Fremantle v Brisbane Lions Sunday, July 1st, 4:40 p.m. at Optus Stadium. Gun forward midfielder Michael Walters will come straight back into the side after serving his 1-game ban. The Ross Lion chooses to move out a veteran, Hayden Ballantyne, or a youngster, Darcy Tucker, remains to be seen. The Dockers will be hoping to regain the services of Alex Pearce, but he'll have to undergo a test on his thumb. The unfortunate head knock to vice-captain Harris Andrews could open the door for Daniel McStay to return, while midfield bull Mitch Robinson, who hasn't played since round 10, is a strong chance to return. Zach Bailey might be given a rest.